Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Hey everyone, glad you're here this week for the iNetrepreneur Network's iNetrepreneur Radio Show. I'm Robert Jones. I am your host. I love being on this show because I get to bring a lot of people from around the world, and I get to discuss, different topics. And, people ask me, what is the theme of your show? And what the theme of the show is it's really just bringing, go-getters, entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers who are really, sharp in what they do, and they want to share their message, to the world. They have something of value, and they have something in their conviction, here. And, my guest today, I'm really excited to bring in her, and I'll bring her on a little bit. Before I do that, though, I'm going to go through a little bit of housekeeping that we have. And what I wanted to talk about is this wonderful event that we have coming up called the Unchain Yourself Professional Women's Conference. We have all of our booths, we have all of our panels and speaking slots taken already. So now we just want to get that room full of people. It's about half full. We have about 160 room for 160. So if you want to come to events, only $20, and it's a full day of fun, engaging, and enticing, and certainly tremendous takeaways. This is not just where we talk in the group all day. This is a place where we actually get to act and practice on some of the things that will level us up. I also want to talk about our third book in this series. It's called The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. The first two books, they hit #1 in international best-selling categories for small business and new business and entrepreneurs and some other categories. So I'm really excited about that. Between the two books, we've hit #1 in 50 different categories. And I'm really excited about our third book coming out because I think that it will definitely even bring more light to the Art of Connection movement. And the Art of Connection movement is just that. It's looking at ways and looking at people differently, and having the courage to connect. You can have all the intelligence in the world, you can have the right temperament in your EQ, but there's also that CQ, and that's the energy it takes to create connections. That's the energy part. And so when I'm talking about connections, it's the willingness to be the first person to reach out their hand. It's the willingness to be the first person to pick up the phone. It's the willingness to be the first person to get on a podcast. You're always wanting to put yourself out there, and that's the CQ of it all, because you have a passion, that it shines so brightly. You just want others to hear, and you want to bring them to you. You want to save other people, because what you do is the best. And again, we're not looking for the world's best average. We're looking for the world's best you, and you are the best. So please look into the Art of Connection and look at having a page in the book. A page is normally $550 for this book. That's what the publisher has it set at, but we have an early bird special for $197 for a reserve date page. And that means you get to actually pick the page in the book. Or if you don't have any particular date that you want to pick in the book, you can, leave it to fate. And we have a little software system that will, put you somewhere randomly in that book. And after it's produced, you'll be able to look for your page and, see your quote, your thought, and your question there. I also want to remind everyone about our meetings, our academy classes, events, and summits, and so much more. You can go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. And it's crazy because we put on over 1,000 meetings and events each year there. And so we have intimate chapter meetings to masterminds to summits to pop-up events, and each one of them has a different feel. It has a different scope, and certainly in each one of our events, you can actually find a lot of people to connect with. Please like us on Facebook. At Facebook, it's iNetrepreneur Radio. Just put that in there, and our show will come up. Also, we have iNetrepreneur Network magazine, and hey, Brent Kesler, he's not here today, but his daughter is. So there's a sneak peek on who I'm going to have on the show. They've been a couple of time contributors into that magazine, but so is Sharon Lechter, and so has Mark Victor Hansen, and so has Jay Fissette, and so has so many other wonderful people who just bring professional and personal development to our forefront. So, with that said, what I'd like to do is bring on our first speaker of the show, and it is Miss Hannah Kesler. Hey, Hannah, how are you?
Hey, Robert, what's going on, sir? Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't think of anyone, better to bring on the show, especially when we're coming up, to the half point of the year. Hannah, can you believe that? In 2 weeks, half the year's over.
I know. We're about to hit July. July 4th's right around the corner.
And I know it's just like, and so we're like looking to see what are we going to do for July 4th. Now, again, I'm with Hannah Kesler. She's a speaker, financial advocate for the Money Multiplier. And a Money Multiplier is more than just, what you think it is. It's a tremendous organization. And we'll talk about that in depth in the third segment. You can reach Hannah at hannah@themoneymultiplier.com or call her. She's brave enough. She's brave enough, everyone, to have her cell phone number, or maybe it's a business number on here. So please feel free to reach out to her. She is a world of information, and Hannah, it's really interesting. We've now known each other for about 4 years. And even in the 4 years, I've seen a tremendous growth in, Brent and his presentations. I've seen a tremendous growth in you, I mean, really, I felt you were a little bit shy initially, as you were kind of learning the craft and the trade. And like Superwoman, you've just started shredding, whatever blankets were, laying upon you, kind of keeping you down. And, some spark is in you, and some type of epiphany or point has just, blossomed. And now I see you as this like expert leading, person under 30 that is challenging people to get the best out of their finances and get the best out of your life. How did you do that?
Yeah.
What was that turning point?
Honestly, if you want me to be funny, it was breaking up with my ex-boyfriend. I'm
What?
just
I,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
okay, I was like, wow.
No. But no, for really though, I mean, it really was the focus and the turning point of like, hey, looking at it's kind of funny because I am a part of the millennial generation, right? And there is a stigma within the millennial generation that that money is evil, it's bad, you don't want that thing. But it's like, honestly, if you know how to turn this tool into a resource to help you, you want this tool in your toolbox, right? It's the tools out there to reach you to that success and that level of where you want to be at and live that prosperous life that you see for yourself, that you've always imagined when you're in kindergarten.
And it's funny, that leads you to that prosperous life. And I think that is it's a beautiful word. And sometimes I think what happens is definitionally speaking, and I'm always about words, when we keep cluttering, the financial part of our lives, the money part of our lives, with derogatory or negative, space type words,
Yeah.
I think we're forgetting that money isn't an evil thing, and it really isn't a positive thing in itself. It's just a conduit that leads to
Cool.
transactions, and it's a
Mhm.
tool. And so, but so if our mindset is positive, with money, we can do great things. And but if it's negative, and we're afraid of it, then it's not going to work for us. And I think that that's what you do really well, and you understand this at an early age. Is it's not about you fighting with money. It's as it's a foe. It's about how can you become friendly with money and have it as an ally. And I think that that's what you do very well in your community, is because this is all about helping entrepreneurs. I mean, if there's anyone who needs help with the understanding of money, it's entrepreneurs. And even Sharon Lechter, when she coached me for a few moments at an event we did, she said entrepreneurs fail because they don't know their numbers. And I just
Yes.
thought that was an amazing quote that I'm always going to resonate in my head. But before we go on, you're on the show for the full hour today. I wanted to kind of just go back in, into your life a little bit, before Money Multiplier, before you became this, stage rock star and everything. Let's go back to like, what was your family life growing up? Was money talked about in the home? Did you have both parents? Tell us a little bit about that time frame.
No, yeah, no, good question. So really, as I'm here talking to y'all today, I'm 22 years old. I'll be 23 in August. And really how I got to where I'm at right now is following my mentors, and one of my mentors is my father. And growing up at home, it was a good we had a good life, So actually my father was a chiropractor, and my mom, she had a billing company, and she was the one doing all the billings for all the associate docs who were running their insurance through their chiropractic clinics, etc. So we did live a pretty good life, but at the same time we only understood up to the point of, hey, you go work for your money, and then your time is traded for that money.
Mhm.
At the same time, I mean, we lived a pretty good life doing that, but I do recall times and sessions in my past of where, I would just see mom and dad totally exhausted from all the hours that they would spend coming into work each and every day. But no, we did have a good life, and I grew up in a great town. Olathe, Kansas is where it's at. It's about 30 minutes south of Kansas City, Kansas. And I did a little bit of high school. I did some high school out there, graduated from high school, did a little college at JCCC, in Overland Park, Kansas. And honestly, money talk though, no, money was really not talked about until pop started getting involved into this whole world of what's called the infinite banking concept, which we'll talk about here in a second. But really it wasn't. And that's what I tell a lot of my folks today is that stop making money such a taboo subject.
Yeah.
Actually, once a week, up like currently, presently, once a week, every Sunday, the family and I, we all get together and we just talk about what's going on, because we have a family business. So what's coming into the business? What's going out of it? What's the family trust making in the investments that we're doing, right? It is a open book and an open circle, because again, we're kind of erasing that taboo subject, and we're bringing it into light that, hey, this is a normal way of living. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you say that, because so much of the financial education that is needed really does start in the home. I myself, with my two parents, my dad was a mathematician, my mom was an educator, and neither one of them ever talked about anything financial in the home. We never learned about, like, let's say a penny saved is a penny earned. We never opened up bank accounts as really as youngsters. And so when we hit the ground running, let's say, and like me, I went into the Marines, and I got out of the Marines. I still didn't have any financial management. They didn't teach you that in the Marines. And then all of a sudden, I went on a couple of church missions, and certainly I still didn't know anything about money, other than just like, we needed money, to people to donate, when I was on my missions and whatnot. But I still didn't understand the difference between, working for money or having money work for me. And
Mhm.
it was a long time later, because you can make all the money in the world, but if you make, $100 million a year, and you're spending $200 million a year, your money is not working for you. And these are those simple little conversations that we did not have at our dinner table. And that's what I like about my wife and I, Sean. And I mean, our kids at 13 and 16 already have their banking accounts, and they're already understanding what it takes to grow their accounts, and they have a certain pride in that I didn't do. So in addition to, like, like Brent being your being like your mentor, and an influencer in many ways, who were some other people in your early life that you can look at and said, what, they really helped, shape who I am?
Yeah, yeah. Always, always, always. To the end of the day, my mother and my father. But I would also say that a lot of the influencers as well, like in my lifetime, I would say would be my peers. I have to give it up to my
Mhm.
peers and kind of my
Wow.
my best friend, Kelsey at the time. You know, we're still friends to this day, but obviously we're closer as childhood friends, still talk. But I would also say, you know, because when mom and dad were going out and building this business, we actually were watched by I had a nanny at the time, and then I also my grandparents, so my grandma and grandpa over on my dad's side, and then my nanny, I don't know what else to call her, but she would be there
Yeah.
and she'd watch over us, and she was a hoot and a half. I love her still to this day. We still keep in contact, and her name is Charity. You know, and just their influences in my life really shaped me into the dynamic person that I feel like I am today. And I'm forever grateful for it, because honestly, let me just be open and just be vulnerable with you real quick, Robert. When growing up, me and my brother, we used to be really ticked off at my parents because they would be traveling, right? They would never be here. Hey, I have
Right.
some volleyball games. I would love for you to come attend my volleyball games, you know, and they would come, right? Don't discredit that. They would come to some of them, but not all of them, right? I want you at every single one of them. And
Absolutely. I dig that totally.
and but now I do really see, and I am very blessed to understand that they were out doing that because they were bettering the family in my life so that I can live a better life in the future.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I remember, the first time that I listened to Brent and, your dad, and I remember him coming into that room, and he'd been a chiropractor for so many years, and it takes, it takes insurance, and it takes a building, and it takes, a staff, and it takes a lot of recurring education, and there really is a lot that goes into being a chiropractor. The
Yeah.
continuing education, everything else is something that you have to have. But I still remember sitting and I was listening to him, Hannah, and I remember it. I remember hearing him, and he also kind of said, it's like, he had a question in his mind. He's like, can I do this all my life? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a certain physical strain, on his body, no matter, what he could do, that someday he's going to have to step away from that physical demand. But he, at one time, really didn't know what that looked like.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I've been a programmer, I've worked for all these different corporations, I've done contract work and everything else, and that hit me. I get goosebumps even speaking it about it right now, and that hit me so phenomenally. I thought to myself, do I just want to sit behind my desk and work the rest of my life trading my time for hours?
Mhm.
Sure, I have people work for me. Sure, I have, I can have VAs and other contract workers. But I remember sitting there, it's like, when am I going to learn that secret key where I don't have to work for the money anymore? I'm smart enough to create a portfolio that works for me. And that's
Mhm.
how it touched me. And he came from the point of, living life, better. And that includes family, and that includes self-care time, and that includes, doing things of interest that you just know, like, and love. So
Yeah.
I really think that that was a wonderful thing. But before our segment ends, do you have any claims to fame? I know you're going to be 23 years old. Are there any claims to fame in your life that you have so far that you might want to share?
So claims to fame. So Robert, I apologize. Elaborate a little bit more for me. So claims to fame.
Yeah, so like me, I always like to tease everyone. So if they say, Robert, what's the claim to fame of yours? I said, well, when I was in the United States Marine Corps, I set the Marine Corps record for sit-ups in 2 minutes. I did 121 sit-ups in 120 seconds. So that was like a claim to fame. So,
Okay. Okay.
maybe.
Touching on. Yeah. So I would say, all right. So my claims to fame, I would say, I don't know, if we're kind of talking like some quirky things about me, some claims to fame. So actually, what's really cool, when I'm not working, I will go out and I get some gigs where I will go perform for people. And what I do is it's at live music events. And at
Mm.
these live music events, they need dancers and they need performers. So I hula hoop. I
Oh,
know how
wow.
to dance hula hoop and I mean not to toot my own horn, but I think I'm pretty good at
That
it.
is awesome. No, I mean, I really love that. I mean, like, I was a very shy person when I was young, and I don't know if you were shy when you were young, but I was very, very shy, and I was a stutterer. And, so that didn't really help me become a little bit more extroverted because when I talked, I always felt the pain of other kids ridiculing me. But, one of the things that when I got out of the Marines before I started my church mission for a whole summer, I was a professional juggler at a Renaissance fair.
Wow. Okay.
Y-
Do
y-
you still know
Oh,
how?
oh yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not quite like I used to be, but it's kind of like riding a bike. Once you start it, once I start getting going and I start juggling, it just starts coming back to me, and
Yep.
you have the mind muscle memory of doing all that. But you know, there that's what I'm saying. Like, interests matter, Hannah. What you do and the places you go and the things you say and what you see. All of those things matter, and they kind of create this hopefully an openness. And certainly it allows you to bring in friends and people of diversity, and you learn from that, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And too, just traveling on the road all the time,
Yeah.
because when I go out with my hoops and everything, I will meet other folks who are out
Mhm.
there doing the same thing I am. And it's just so fun to connect of such like a quirky trait that we both do.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell people it's not about being fearless, it's about fearing less.
Mhm.
And like, one of the things that, I did too that really helped me just start to really enjoy, the world was I used to work for a company, I used to do driveaways. And so, I would, get on a plane and I'd hop on a plane and I'd go to different destinations and I'd drive the car back.
Yeah.
And what was so cool about that is you got to go through different routes through different states, meeting different people, and that's why when I think about when they try to pigeonhole us like you're black or you're white or you're brown or yellow or red or whatever, I'm thinking to myself that does a disservice to all of us as a population because there is such a unique diversity just even from county to county and state to state, and that's
Mhm.
what I love. And that's what I love about financial. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is this part right here, your belief system on believing that you can do anything that you want, including, having a command on your finances. Well, I am here. I'm going to put your information across here. I am here with Hannah Kesler. She's a speaker and financial advocate of the company Money Multiplier. My wife and I, we trust you guys, to the nth degree. We are loving being clients of you guys because you offer so much and you believe in family and you guys believe in community, and we support you every step of the way. I'm going to go ahead and take a little break here, Hannah, and play a little commercial, and then we'll come back for our next segment. All right. I am here with Hannah Kessler. She is a speaker, financial advocate, and my goodness, so many other things. Dancing, is another claim to fame with
The
Hannah. So I
dancing
love
queen.
that. That is so true. That is amazing. So I want to kind of come in, I kind of want to come into, something that I really hadn't heard of until I went to an event, and it was a Grant Cardone event. And, I was helping, some other people promote him. And I went to a couple of the, after hour parties to hear some of the other speakers up close and personal. And one of them was your dad. And I remember him speaking up there, and I was just sitting, and I was like in awe about his story. and he came from a place of having an amazing amount of debt, but yet he had an amazing amount of success. But the problem was, it seemed like his financial foundation wasn't matching his successful, practice, his business foundation. And I kind of felt in my own mind, it kind of mirrored my life a little bit, because I hadn't been told how to have a relationship with money. I hadn't been told that, it's okay, and it's just a tool. It's not good, it's not evil. It's how you use it, in the knowledge that you have, to make that money work for you. And he was the start of changing my whole mindset, on what my relationship would start being like. And he talked about this concept called infinite banking. And I remember when I heard that, I thought, this guy is just full of, it can't be that good. That is crazy. But tell us just a little bit, everyone who's watching us today, tell us a little bit about, like, what is infinite banking in, like, layman terms.
Yeah, I hear you. And actually, so Robert, I call that the financial hamster wheel, right? We're in
Yeah.
this financial hamster wheel where we think we're going and going and going, but then something else hits us, and it's like, oh shoot, I'm back in that financial hamster wheel, just trying to stay afloat right now. So absolutely. I mean, so Robert, kind of what you were talking about. So this infinite banking concept, I always have to give recognition to the gentleman. His name is R. Nelson Nash, and I have a book over there. I should have grabbed it, but all of this stems from the book Becoming Your Own Banker, Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. And really, I mean, this book, it's not making us change anything that we're already doing within our lives, right? Y'all are
Yeah.
really good at making money, but here's the secret: you're not too great at keeping that money. So if I
Yeah.
can just show you how to keep more of that wealth, I think it's a pretty good day, right?
Yeah.
So this whole concept, it really stems from you being your own banker. Stop letting the central banks and the Fed and the government be in control of your life, and you start taking back that control. That's the number one thing, the control factor. I am now taking back the control of my financial life. So really, it's just being the banker, right? How I'm able to finance all the things throughout my life, not have to go down to the conventional bank, request loans, and I can make all that profit, interest, and dividends on myself instead of the central banks making it on me.
And that was really just something, it was so hard for me to hear that the first time I was in that room. And it took me, because I've studied, and I've studied traditional ways, and I have a financial planner at that point, and we've pretty much shattered all of the debt in this family, and we've done that. But again, it 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 didn't seem like that route would still let us really live the life that we wanted to lead. And when
Yeah.
I heard that, my all the financial planners that I've had in my life, and the people that were helping me, I mean, even from tax strategists to accountants, to bookkeepers, in addition to the financial planner, they never ever stated, hey, Robert, here's something I want you to know about. You can be your own bank. It's like, I don't get it, because it's a phenomenal concept, but why is it hidden? Why are we challenged in the public to even know that it exists? Is it supposed to be a secret? Because for me, when I heard that, I really felt like, I was really guarded, like, this can't be true. Can you help demystify this, or is there a reason why, more people don't know about infinite banking?
Yep. It's the informed versus the uninformed, right? And
Right.
it's just not a lot of people are out there talking about it, because you know what? A lot of the elite and wealthy individuals are not out there teaching this stuff. Because a matter of fact, when we go out there and we teach this stuff to y'all, we take, like when we go out and we talk, we like with how we do our stuff out there, we don't get compensated as much as somebody else who would get compensated in another avenue of how they're selling and teaching their stuff, but our
Yeah.
philosophy is that nobody's ever mad at us when you're helping them build, create their wealth. So our philosophy is, hey, if we help you get what you want, you in return will get what you want. It's a Zig Ziglar quote. And
Yeah.
and that's just the philosophy that we live by. But really, I mean, the number one thing of why folks aren't out there teaching it, people just don't know about it. That's the thing. People are just don't know about it. I even have folks who are in this profession and this career, and they're not out there. They don't even know about this stuff. So it is really that elite and wealthy folks who know this. They keep that information within the family, and then they pass that generational wealth on and knowledge on to their heirs. But then us, the average Joes out here, we're like, how do the rich keep getting richer, but we're out here doing the same old thing every single
Struggling. Yeah.
generation?
I know it's just crazy. I mean, it really just comes down to sometimes, like when I hear it and it kind of blinds you a little bit. And I really had to change my mindset.
Oh,
I really, and I think that you guys do a great job of helping people, create a different mindset. How important, the people that you work with and that you're talking to, how important is the mindset part of bringing people into infinite banking?
Oh, totally, totally. I always tell people, hey, this is going to be a paradigm shift. And actually, so when we go out and speak, one of the quotes that we always talk about is the Will Rogers quote. The problem in America isn't so much what people don't know, it's what they think they know that just ain't so. So
Mm,
what we're going out there and we're just talking, we're just talking about what's out there, what actually people are doing. But the problem is that those elite people aren't sharing it with the other folks that are out here.
right.
So
And it's really interesting because I used to listen to a lot of radio talk shows, and people talk about money, and they talk about let's get rid of debt, let's create your financial foundation, let's create a rainy day fund, and really let's just put all our money into like the mutual funds and some stocks out there. And quite frankly, the different I have no control over that.
bingo.
Now, I have no control over that. Now it's like one of my things because yeah, it goes up and it kind of goes down, and I can keep putting money into it, and I can stack and I can do all that. But at the end of the day, what? I can control, how many people get into the book, The Art of Connection. I can control how many people I work, when it comes to website deliverables. I can control how many clients I bring in on board, but I can't control the marketplace. And I always felt like, I'm doing okay, but I don't feel like I'm a part of my destiny, you know? And I think that that's a big difference. And I had to change my whole belief system as well, Hannah. And it's taken me a little bit of while because I was thinking to myself, you know, I want to have more control, and I want to have a better relationship with the people I'm working with, and I want to be able to refer out, people that have that credibility, because I think it's so important to have it, but when it comes to infinite banking, let's talk about what is it? Is it, what does it mean? Do you put your money in the mattress, or, is it similar to the, I mean, I know the answer, but, I'm just doing this for the sake of the show, how can I claim to be an infinite banker myself? What does
Yep.
that look like?
Yep. So what it is, right? So the whole idea is that we are using a system, and I'll get into it here in a second, the vehicle, what the vehicle is. But at the end of the day, what the whole idea is that all of our wealth has to flow through somebody's bank, and
Hmm.
you want it to be your bank. You make all of the profits and interest and dividends on yourself instead of letting the conventional banks do it, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, etc. So what we're doing, the platform that we're using, and before I say this, right? The platform that we're using is a specifically engineered whole life insurance policy in a mutual company that pays dividends, right? So
Mhm.
it's a specifically engineered whole life policy. Now, most of y'all, I know you guys are listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, Hannah, I'm about to shut off the computer, run out of the room, and just totally vomit on you, right? Because I know everything that there is to know about whole life insurance in the world, right? Because
Mhm.
Dave Ramsey told me whole life is the worst place to put my money, right?
Yeah.
However, though, no, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you actually understood and followed what the wealthy are doing, actually, let me just talk about this real quick. Our president today, Joe Biden holds 6 whole life policies with a company that we do business with, Mass Mutual. He doesn't
Mm.
own any stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. And I'll send you the article. It's an article dated in June of 2016. And it's like, why? Why doesn't he hold any savings accounts, bonds, or mutual funds? Is he doing something stupid, or is he doing something the rest of us just don't know about? So there's a lot of more of examples that I can share and enlighten you on. But really, what it is that we're using this really old product. I mean, because I really don't like to talk about the product, because really what I'm talking about is the
Mm.
process of the banking function. The platform is the whole life policy. This is just where I'm able to do this with all the benefits and features that come with this product, right? Tax-free growth. I'm able to leverage it to go buy my investments, go buy my cars, go on vacation, right? Whatever I want to do. And then at the same time, it still leaves a legacy to my family and my heirs when I'm not here anymore. I mean, this is just a concept that the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgan Stanleys, Barclays, they all understood this. They all understood how to keep money within the family. Totally opposite from what the Vanderbilts know, right?
Yeah, and it's really interesting, and in the way I look at it, it's like you earn dividends, you earn an interest rate, you have your own money, it's still a policy of protection, and you can cycle your own wealth through that policy ongoing and continuously that pays. You can even create let me see, you can even opt for self-created dividends within your own banking system, and see, and that's what's so unbelievable about it, because when you start listening to it, it's like, wow, you just, and then lastly, you're able to take this and bring it to the next generation as well. So those who come after you, like our heirs, right? They're
Yeah.
able to to understand and be a part of this infinite banking construct as well. And that means you're still owning your properties, you're still owning your vehicles, you're still owning your land, right? I mean, all of these things come under and within that umbrella of the infinite banking, because otherwise your money is in someone else's hands, and they're just siphoning off percentage points and fees and other things, which your own bank, if you do that, it goes back to you. That's a
Yeah.
big difference, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. Because people, here's the thing. Here's one thing I wanted to enlighten your listeners on.
Hmm.
People get so hung up in the rate. What is the rate of my return? What is the rate I'm being charged interest? But the thing that's really killing y'all is the volume. It's the
Right.
volume of interest that you're sending out the door to those other people that you could be keeping within your family and capitalizing on your own volume and interest of what you're creating on yourself.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal, and one of the things is people that are sitting here, it's like you may ask yourself, is infinite banking for me?
Mhm.
And I'm already successful. I did go the Dave Ramsey way, or I did go the Susie Orman way, or I did go what my financial planner's way is. Can this still work for me as well? Or what, I don't have that much money. I have 3 kids and I'm just living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I think some of us just feel like we feel like we're an imposter trying to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to own my own bank. So what is like, what does it look like for those people who are really qualified to become their own banker? Is there a level or a limit or a boundary or a ceiling, to becoming an infinite banker? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know, because when you think about, hey, I'm owning a bank, oh my gosh, that means I need to have like $20 million in reserves or something, right?
Yeah.
But no, no, not at all. I mean, so we have folks who put in their minimum, right? Like $100, $200 a month. And I got folks who put in as most as $5 million a year into their banking system. So this can work for any other which way folk of what you're doing out there in your life.
Yeah, it just, and I don't, I can't think of anyone, if you're really diligent, who can't, put $100 into something that will pay them back. And not only that, you have your life insurance, you know, involved with it as well, and that also protects your next generation. And I think that is a part of, what people don't know. I mean, this is like a full service financial instrument.
That's it. That's it. Well, and the thing is, too, it's just like, folks, where are you storing all of your wealth, right? Who's in control of that wealth? Are there any guarantees of where you're keeping that money besides, I guess, underneath your mattress, right?
You're right.
But that's the questions I would start asking myself is that where am I storing my money? Where am I collecting my net income at the end of each month? And can I put this wealth to work in a better place that is just sitting inside of this bank account earning me less than 1% or underneath my mattress not even earning me any interest?
Yeah, I mean, for some of us during this time frame, we wish we could even get 1%. We're at like half of a percent. I mean, it's just crazy what our savings accounts look like.
Yeah.
So I am with Hannah Kesler. She's a speaker and financial advocate of the company, the Money Multiplier. You can reach her at Hannah at the moneymultiplier.com, or call her at 913-908-3511. Hannah, we're going to take a little break here, and then we'll come back for our last segment of the show, where we'll talk a little bit more about the Money Multiplier as a company. So I'm looking forward to our last section.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
All right, I am with Hannah Kesler, speaker and financial advocate of the company, the Money Multiplier. And we've been talking quite a bit about infinite banking, and how valuable it is. And also, you also brought up a name, R. Nelson Nash, and becoming your own banker. Tell us a little bit about R. Nelson. I'm sorry, R. Nelson Nash, and why have most of us not heard about him? Why is he not like the most popular person on earth right now?
Absolutely, absolutely. So he did pass away. God bless his heart. He passed away in March 19th of 20 excuse me, March 27th of 2019. Nelson did pass away at the age of 87.
Wow.
So anyway, so Nelson, he was really the gentleman that brought this concept to the public's eye. So in that book, he does go through his background, how he came about this concept, etc. But his background was in forestry, so he was in the forestry
Hmm.
business, was in that for 40 plus years. And so what really Nelson came about, and what I really do like about him is that he always had the mentality of to think long term, think past
Mhm.
my lifetime, think past to the next generations. I do think that is very important, especially just talking about, just even like our climate here, on this planet. I don't want to kind of get into that topic, but just what's going on here on this planet Earth, and how we can protect our Earth here, and how we can help our future generations and our children and our heirs when they come to this Earth and are living this life here. But Nelson, he's a very strong Christian man, and it was just one night, he was pleading, he was in all of this debt, and he was just like, God, how can I get out of all of this debt? And then that's when he realized that his father had started this whole life policy for him way back when, and he was
Mhm.
able to collaterally borrow and leverage from that policy to help him get out of all of that debt that he was suffocating in, right?
Yeah.
So that's really where Nelson found the power in it, that he was able to get himself and free himself of these financial bonds that he was in, and how to break away from the banks, and how he was able to take back that control. So Nelson does go through his story, but one of the things I really do take away is he's always a long-term thinker, and I really do enjoy his morals of what he was preaching throughout life.
Yeah, and gosh, he must have been, I can't even imagine how the financial community really, either. I can't imagine the financial community at the time would accept him. I would imagine him as being someone that was probably ridiculed and put down and shunned. And I can't imagine it was really easy for him to get this concept out to others initially, was it?
No, not at all, not at all. Because I actually, well, right, Robert, we said at the beginning of this conversation today, I'm very young, and even just being in this world for the last 6+ years now, it's a dog eat dog world out here in the
Yeah.
financial world.
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, it is.
So absolutely, but it's, in my opinion, I feel it's like the people who do flock to the information are the people who are game changers. They are
Hmm.
the ones who are not selfish, and they are the ones who really want to build and create the wealth within the families and within the generations. So that's one thing I really did take away from Nelson, is that he did leave a good impression and a good my millennial term coming out right now, but a good vibe
Yeah,
on
right, right. I
people
like it.
when he would talk to them.
Hmm. And it's really interesting. A lot of times, and I think this is what's different. A lot of times when you work with a financial consultant, and I don't remember if I told you this, but I used to work for a Linsco Private Ledger. Wonderful company. They do great things, and I was a trader, and I was doing part trade because I was also, trying to help out on the tech marketing and technology side, and they were just really starting to use the internet, and have access, from the internet, not just by mailing out like a person's portfolios or a prospectus on some type of fund that was coming up, blah 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 blah. And
Mhm.
I remember, I remember it was a very traditional old school, but they helped people. But I remember it was usually a broker, and a broker might have an assistant, and that was their whole office. You
Yeah.
know, and then they had support from, I called it the LPL mothership. You know, and I was in San Diego and everything. But what's really interesting about the Money Multiplier and what you guys do with infinite banking, it's more than two people. You guys have created a team. And I think it really goes without saying what that team looks like, because it's not just one person. I mean, you have people to bring onboarding, you have people to do financial mapping, you have people doing education, you have communities where we can all get together. Tell us a little bit about the different players within Money Multiplier that help your clients, where you help your
Yes.
clients.
Yes, yes. So, and it's funny because I was just reminiscing on this just this week, actually, where it was just honestly, when we started this stuff, it was dad, it was my mom, It was Miss Joe, who's on our application team, and Jonah. We had 4 people, and that was sailing the cruise ship that way. But now we've kind of gotten up to the point where we have that need. More people are hopping on board, and we want to service y'all in the best way, in the respectable manner that you deserve, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone's a person, right? Everybody's got feelings. Everybody's got needs that they want met. So you need to accommodate to those needs and those goals of those people that are coming to you asking for help, because honestly, it is hard. Sometimes it's hard to ask for help. You don't want to admit it, but sometimes you need the help. So what we do is that, so we have educators out there. We call them money mentors, so that would be like my dad, Brent, or me, Hannah, a Mr. Chris Noggle, if you've ever heard of him. He's very active in the real estate world and on YouTube, Chris Noggle. And, we have money mentors out there teaching this. But now, y'all as being entrepreneurs, you have to have a team in the back office to keep the glue together, keep the systems running. So then that's where my mom is very good at. She's more the analytical person, much more than what my dad is. And so what we do is we have a team. We have our application team where their sole duty is to guide our people through, get approved for their policies, set it up properly for this banking concept, and make sure that it fits the needs and the goals of what you're trying to do. And then once you got your policy, well, hey, now you have this tool. How do you go use it? Because Robert, I can't tell you how many people call me up and they say, Hannah, I know this banking concept. I've heard it before in the past. I have a policy, but the person who gave it to me, I just can't get them to call me back. Can you help me with this? And so that's our number one thing is the implementation, because it's easy. Anybody could go out there and get a policy, design it for this banking concept, but it's the implementation of how you're actively using this. It's somebody to handhold you, walk you through the process of it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I call it the QuickBooks theory, meaning like it's great that you buy the QuickBooks software online, and it's great that it has all these benefits and attributes, etc. But the problem is if you use it wrong, or if you don't use it at all, it doesn't matter. A whole life policy is a whole life policy is a whole life policy is a whole life policy, and it will do nothing for you unless you have the knowledge and motivation, to ask the questions, to understand and assess the needs, and to have someone walk you through until you can start making better determinations of how to use that policies. And from what I understand, once you start seeing this process, right, the implementation of the process, you start buying another policy and another. Don't people do that as well?
Oh, absolutely. I just got off the phone earlier today. My guy, Mark, he's up in Ohio. I met him at a RIA one time when we were out there speaking. Mark calls me up. He says, Hannah, I'm ready to go. I need to put more money inside of my bank. I need to open up policy number 2. Because that's the whole idea, right? Just like how I said earlier, you want all of your cash to flow through your bank.
Right. Yeah. And it really is mind-boggling to think that you are creating, the Bank of Kesler or the Bank of Jones or the Bank of Noggle. It's amazing feeling. But you know what the real feeling of it is? Especially when I first got the whole term, life policy, was the feeling of knowing that I'm in control and I know what I can do with my own money, and someone is not taking that away, because you're not, and again, you guys help mentor, coach, console, show, long-term prospectus of what you can do with it. But that is so much different than having it out there and getting these perspectives of all these funds, and not even really getting the chance to understand what they say, and then trying to get your financial planner and becoming more confused. You guys take something that can be so complex and you make it very simple for your clients to be able to reach their goals in a rather quick manner. And I'm talking, people who have 100,000, 200,000, $500,000 in debt within 6 to 7 years. They're out of debt. They're using their money in the right way, and they're finding the freedom that they want. But so you guys like offer financial consulting, you offer, other insurance products, some wealth management, and but the other thing that you do too is you are creating a money multiplier community. And
Yeah.
that is something that is, to me, it's like revolutionary. So it's not just you're helping people one on one, you're also getting, like-minded, heart-centered people all together, and all of a sudden you're going on this journey not alone, but you're going on this journey with what you said earlier in the show, your peers. And you
Yeah.
know what peers do? If you got good ones, they're there to champion and cheer you on, aren't they?
Absolutely. And challenge you sometimes, right?
And challenge you sometimes. Yeah, kick you in the. Yeah, that's right. Challenge you sometimes. Tell us a little bit about your money multiplier, community, and how do you and Brent do that outreach? Is it all Zoom, or do you travel around the country? Do you put on events? What does that look like?
Good question. No, community is all. Because you never want to feel like a lone person on stranded on a lone island somewhere, you know? So,
Yeah,
absolutely, community is all because like kind of like Robert, like how you're saying, hey, why hasn't the majority and the masses have heard about something like this? And so when people are out there, they get so excited, right? They'll come and see us live and in person. They'll get so excited about this banking concept. Man, this thing is so cool. I can keep my wealth. I don't have to change my cash flow, take any additional risk, or lose control. I'm just adding this additional step. And then their friends, their colleagues, their family members come on board, and then they start giving them all of their advice and their 2 cents, and they kind of feel like a whack-a-mole character, right? They whack them
right.
down every single time that they go and talk about it.
Yep. Oh
So
man.
really, the community is built. I would say the oh gosh, the what's the right word, Robert? It's the repetitiveness, consistency. There we go.
Hmm.
The consistency of putting out that educational stuff each and every week for our members, right? I because one thing that Nelson Nash does talk about is he does talk about the arrival syndrome, where the arrival syndrome is that if you hit the arrival syndrome, that is you saying, hey, I have learned everything that there is to possibly know in this whole entire world, and I can't know anything else and learn anything else more. And it's like,
Right.
no, that's not true. You can always keep learning and always keep progressing. So same thing over here, you can keep always progressing and learning, and on top of that, giving them a platform to interact and talk with one another. How are you using your banking policy? What do you see working for you? And so what we find is like our Facebook group has a lot of that conversation and dialogue going on, where folks will just bounce their ideas off of one another. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, in a lot of, there's a lot of people who come from corporate backgrounds, but there's a lot of people that come from entrepreneurial backgrounds, and some of them have crossed over from corporate to entrepreneurial. And the other thing that you do is when you get to meet all these people, you're not just talking about the infinite banking concept anymore. You're actually, it's like you have like mini masterminds by the one-on-ones that you can have with the other people within the community, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're a chiropractor. Well, I'm a chiropractor. Hey, does this work? Does that work? All of a sudden you're starting to give additional education in the business lines that each and every person in the group has. And I think that is such an important place. But again, that common denominator is the infinite banking, but the diversity of the community also helps as well, because you can meet people just like you and unlike you and learn from both. And I think that is the greatest concept, because when you teach from a place of education, not from a place of I'm just going to sell you something and turn my back and walk away. And I think that is so much because most entrepreneurs nowadays, they seek fun and they seek fulfillment. And you guys do both. You make it fun, and you fulfill what they really want.
Well,
And
thank you.
yeah, and a lot of what they want is instead of always working for their money and working till 3 a.m. on a Sunday, is getting that money to work for them and getting around people that will work with them. And that's what I love about the money multiplier. So hey, Hannah, I'm gonna scroll your information because we're right up at an hour across the screen. Again, I'm with Hannah Kesler. She's a speaker and financial advocate of the company, the Money Multiplier. Reach her at Hannah at themoneymultiplier.com or call her at 913-908 3511. And Hannah, I'm going to put this back up here for everyone, because this event, the Unchain Yourself Professional Women's Conference, is coming up on July 28th. It's from 9 to 5 p.m. It's for anyone, women, and a few good men. So if you want to support the women out there, men, please come to this event as well. We're going to be offering education, and a lot of different disciplines. And Hannah, I'm really excited you are going to be a speaker at this event, aren't you?
I am. No, and I'm so excited. I've been sharing it with my members. Just Wednesday is always our webinar days. We have Wealth Wednesday webinar, and then the Ask Me Anything. And I was hooting and hollering about this because I know I have some guests that I can bring with me, and I got some.
I love it.
I'm going to be bringing with me.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And Sean and I will be plugging you guys so much, because I knew when I first saw that concept in that first meeting in the Grant Cardone After Hours event, and I heard your dad Pop speak, I thought, what, that is the place that I want to be, because I know I know my money may be working for me, but I know that it's not the ceiling that I want, because quite frankly, I don't want a ceiling. I want it to be where I want it to go, how I want it to go, and I want it to do it for me and my family. And just that feeling of what you guys offered was amazing. So again, in addition to being here in Gilbert on 728, are there any other ways that people can reach out to you?
Yeah. So, Robert, you said my email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And hey, y'all, here's my gift to you, Robert, and your listeners. If you email me, I'll send you a copy of the free ebook, this book called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. And I'll send you the ebook of this. And really, this really dives into Brent's story, my dad, and Chris Noggle. And it's a spinoff of what Nelson teaches in his book, Becoming Your Own Banker. So for your listeners, I'll send them a free copy of the ebook. And yeah, reach out to me, 913-908-3511. That's my personal cell phone number. You call me, you text me. I'm there. And we got our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, The Money Multiplier. So we're out there.
Absolutely. And it looks like there was a bunch of changes on the website. It's a wealth of information there. Lots of good information on that website, themoneymultiplier.com. Well, Hannah, it was great to have you on the show today. You are such a delight. I call you one of the Rockstar 30 under 30 rock stars. It's so great. You just have it together. You're an inspiration to any age, and so when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Okay.
Oh, I say the same thing about you, Robert. You and John.
Oh my goodness. Well, again, it was such a have a great weekend. I can't wait to see you guys in person on July 28th.
And last thing I'll say, Robert, because that was where we met about 4 years ago, right outside the Phoenix area.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking to more good times. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Take care.
All right, we are here each and every Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. We're that crazy state, Arizona, where half the year we're Mountain Standard Time, the other part of the year we're Pacific PD time. So thank you guys. Have a great week. Thank you, Hannah, for being on the show today. And everyone, please come back to us next week as we have another stellar star to come onto the network. Thank you.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.